Record.
Yeah.
Welcome to Hold My Comic Issue 2, where our youthful hobbies grow up, but we don't. I'm Mac. I'm drinking today Four Hands Chocolate Milk Stout. What do you got?
I'm sorry, say that again?
No, you introduce yourself.
He wasn't paying attention.
No, because I'm hearing some little bit of feedback. I'm hearing a
it's
delay.
it's the fucking podcast.
Hey, that's fine. I am drinking on, what did I just grab from over there? What's the name of that?
Oh yeah.
I'm going to have some of the dude, of course. I am Mr. Bogus, Captain Rogers, what have you, whatever's necessary. Go ahead, Tone.
This is Tone, a.k.a. the Silverback. Gonna be drinking, you know what? I'm not gonna start with the Thor disappointment brew.
The Thor brew.
I'm gonna start with some Crown Brewing from Crown Point, Indiana, Special Forces IPA.
Right near Kenshaw.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well,
Okay.
hey, this is
And Freeloader.
and the freeloader here, aka Willie D. Mifwick. I think I'm gonna be drinking whatever somebody pours in my glass here. I'm looking at this Special Forces. It looks like Sting. I've been telling these guys, you know, the wrestler. So,
Yeah.
but anyways, so yeah, Willie D here, and let's get this.
All
going.
right. So we're going to start off with recent events. We got a whole lot of stuff to do and 2 weeks worth of material here to cover and only 45 minutes to do it.
Yeah, you
so
just
let's get
run
right
it
in.
down, and I'll chime in on whatever I know.
Yeah.
Which is little.
Yep.
Very little.
So in recent news, all right, who's
Hey. It's none of that here.
all right? Get the phones
Go
off.
find your ass.
Hey,
All right, Sonic the Hedgehog movie trailer was released, and just as quickly, director Jeff Fowler took to Twitter to calm fan outrage at the design of Sonic, stating, "Thank you for the support and the criticism. The message is loud and clear. You aren't happy with the design, and you want changes. It's going to happen." What did you guys think of the design for Sonic?
Man, let me tell you something. Bowing down to the pressure. I mean, I got to give it to this guy. You know, admittedly, the character design was absolute trash. I mean, it was terrible. It looked just like somebody just decided to take something that they just shitted on the art table and just turned it into Sonic the Hedgehog. So, I mean, I am glad that they're going to change it, but I also kind of fear that they're really not going to learn too much of this. You know, now you're bowing down to fan outrage, and where is it going to end? Are we going to start changing up how Jim Carrey is doing his Dr. Robotnik? Hell shit, let's just go ahead and throw the whole damn movie out while we're at it.
Well, speaking of that, what's a skinny Dr. Robotnik? Skinny
Yeah.
Dr.
Yeah,
Eggman.
you know what? Skinny Dr. Robotnik, I couldn't even wrap my brain around
That
that
was
one.
weird.
That was weird.
I
That is
think he's going
absolutely
to carry
crazy.
the movie, but I still think it's weird.
yeah, and we're going to be seeing a lot of that skinny Jim Carrey, depending on what point they decide to make the transition into Egghead, which I guess where everybody at this table is in agreement on
Yeah,
anticipating.
They only showed it at the very end.
When they showed at the very end to kind of break that.
His breakdown insanity
Yeah.
of whatever's
Baldness of the
It's
big
going to be
mustache.
fun to watch. It looks like he's going all in, so I'm all with it. As far as them making a decision to listen to the fans, I appreciate that people are kind of finally getting it into their heads that we are the ones that kind of control, to a degree, the content that's given to us. We don't have to automatically see these movies because they exist, which is, you know, one of my
Lies.
favorite talking points.
Lies.
We get to actually say something. Now, the fact that it actually worked, that is what the story is. That's what's very interesting. And, you know, they're going to be upset either way because you're always going to have haters out there.
It only works because it's a digital character
Yeah.
that they can change on the fly. Any other time, they're not going to give a shit about what the fans say, and they know you're still going to go watch it.
But they're
yeah.
making this movie, and they expect us 90s kids, to go see this movie. And we were like, fuck no. Sonic looks awful.
Yeah.
Do over. And they
Weird.
listened because they had
The
no
weird
choice
skinny
because
legs.
we're the ones that's supposed to bring our kids.
They made his body more proportionate
Right.
to what they humanized him, basically, instead of making him
petite,
cartoony.
skinny
So
legs.
bad.
Yeah.
Yep.
Look, just do whatever. it
Stop
takes to
complaining
get
and go see the goddamn
No,
movie.
I'm not complaining at all. I wasn't gonna see it, and then I saw this uproar about about how he looked, and I saw the trailer, and I was like, "Oh yeah, they need to fucking change it." So now I might actually go to see what the final product is, which is another one of their.
I'm gonna guarantee you that this guy right here, Mr. Bogus, whatever he wants to call himself this week, is not gonna go see this movie. He always says he's gonna go see it, but then he's
Hey,
never
Still,
gonna go see
still
it.
hasn't seen Shazam.
But
Yeah.
if I do, it'll
Oh.
be because they stepped out on a limb and made that
Nope.
connection.
Or because
Lies.
somebody paid for him to go.
Exactly.
Hey, however it gets into my eyes, I'll only give a shit because they fixed Sonic.
Right.
I will for sure go see it, but
I want to see it.
I want to see it. I want to see it just to see the train wreck.
Yeah.
Like, I really want to give Jim Carrey another shot, but
just go.
He's just jumped
I think he'll
feet
do
first into the deep end, and I don't think there's any coming back for him.
I think he'll
It's
do
Jim
good.
Carrey.
Sonic will look good.
He's never been the most sanest person on the planet. It's Jim Carrey.
Yeah,
Mr. Lunatic, basically.
Probably
Can we not forget he was Fire Marshal Bill?
Oh yeah.
I mean, come on.
He may be the
You
most
got
sane
something's
person.
got to be something wrong with you in the head to create that character.
I mean, half his characters probably means there's something wrong with him. Shit. I'm like, but hey, that's the selling point. Going to see Jim Carrey. I mean, I love Jim Carrey since probably back all the way to Ace Ventura days. So I mean, it's going to be a plus.
No,
I mean,
in living color.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
that's not a
but Ace Ventura.
That's where he got his start.
That's what he got.
I'm talking about in movies. His first movie was that. He had one indie film. It was like Rubbernecking or something.
Yeah.
Earth Girls, whatever the hell that stupid.
No, the vampire.
Oh, the vampire movie.
Well, no, he had one where he was a touring
Oh,
comedian, and it was just awful.
Well, that's why I said Ace Ventura and In Living Color, as far as I'm concerned. So, I mean, like I said, he's the selling point. So they knew what they were doing when they did that.
Out in California, Star Wars Galaxy's Edge at Disneyland Resort. Visitors from May 31st opening through June 23rd require a no-cost reservation to see the new area, and it sold out in 2 hours after the system went live, with many reporting troubles logging in and then being immediately put into a long digital queue.
Of course.
I mean, we all knew it was going to happen. You knew that the minute that a Star Wars area opens up in either park, it's going to be a huge, huge wait.
Sounds like what happened with the Avengers Endgame pre-orders. I mean,
same thing, yeah.
I think that's the world we're living in now.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, with digital cues, anybody can get access to anything.
You used to be able to play video games, and one day there was a loading screen once we switched to this. Like, and we're never going back.
Our minds were blown ever since.
We're
like,
never
what
going
in
back.
the world?
You even load on Nintendo stuff now. So,
But
and it's not even a disc.
yeah.
In order to get these no cost reservations, you have to log on to this website, and we've got this is a theme park now, so they're trying to limit the people that are coming into a theme park area. It's not even the full theme park. You have to get a reservation just to get into the area. So, I mean, what does that say about the popularity of just Star Wars itself? I don't remember hearing this, and I might be wrong. I don't remember hearing anything about Harry Potter opening up in Universal Studios in Orlando and they requiring in the first month a no-cost reservation.
Because Universal Studios has their shit together. I
Well,
mean,
hold on. This is what they're doing. It's basically a test run to see capacity and what the lines and waits are going to be like. So, hey, everybody come out, no charge,
But
reservation.
they do that already, though, with cast previews.
Oh,
Yeah, well, I mean, but this is it's Star Wars. They know it's going to be bigger.
Yeah.
hell,
They know it's going to be
they're
bigger.
gonna have a fucking digital queue just to go to the bathroom out there. I mean,
In related Star Wars news, we have Peter Mayhew, the actor behind Chewbacca, passed away in his North Texas home last Tuesday, surrounded by family. He was 74 years old. He recently made the news when he handed the reins of Chewie off to I think he's a Swiss or Norwegian Olympian. So somebody else took over the reins for the last movie. He was there, gave his blessing, just in time for him to pass away.
wow.
He was apparently really, really fun to be around with his fans. You know, he was somebody that loved his fans, loved to interact with fans. He'll be missed on the rest of the
Absolutely.
con tours this year. And getting into the namesake, we'll get into comics. So we'll start this off with DC's Year of the Villain. Kicked off with free issue number 1, and it was released online. I know at least 2 or 3 people here read it.
No, probably.
I read it.
I read it.
Even if it was free online,
I
somehow
was forced though.
somebody just read it today. So give us a rundown. What are your thoughts?
Well, geez, where to start? Shocking stuff. I just was completely disturbed by what I read in this book.
Year of the Villain.
I am the villain. I mean, everybody is.
No. Year of the Villain.
Yeah, I'm
Not
sorry.
deceased.
No. Well, hell, I was disturbed with this too. Shit, it was so many
DC
things.
Year of the Villain wasn't that disturbing.
It was disturbing. This motherfucker.
You must have a seriously fragile.
Watching Lex Luthor, should I say it?
Yeah.
Blow
go
his
right
fucking
ahead.
self up along with Captain Adam. Yeah, I was fucking disturbed But it was a good book. I enjoyed it. I really did enjoy it. But it's a lot going on in here. And
Lex is a big name draw. All the time.
Lex is he's kicking stuff some serious shit in this book right here, and I can tell you all that the shit really hits the fan in this issue, and I'm really looking forward to reading the rest of what comes from this storyline.
How about from somebody who's read it?
Right. So DC, you're the villain. Pretty much, Lex Luthor comes up with a whole diabolical plan to basically unite all the villains. He gave away his whole fortune, which is just ridiculous. He's a billionaire, so he just gives all of his money away. But who does he give it to? Villains.
Fucking villains.
He gives it away to all the villains so they can further their plans.
And that wasn't disturbing?
He gave them that and the means to take out all the
heroes.
It's like it's a pretty much there are bullseyes on all the heroes' backs now. Heroes are out actually fighting crime and chasing villains down, and villains are like, look, you guys need to get the hell out of here. Come with me before the bad people show up.
Right.
That was, I believe, with Green Arrow and Batgirl.
Yeah.
So
it's like, I want to switch sides.
Right. That villain was like, can you please join me so the bad things that are about to happen don't happen? Hurry up before they get here. Who gets here? You'll see.
Exactly. Disturbing stuff, folks.
So too late, bam, they're here.
Right. Then too late, bam, they're there.
And holy hell breaks loose.
Oh yeah, it starts to go crazy. But the whole thing of Lex Luthor blowing himself up, blowing up his whole building, telling everybody, "Get out, you're fired," and if you don't get out, I'm gonna kill you. Personally, you took that to heart. Like he had this mission down pat.
Yeah, one of the heaviest things he said in that entire exchange and that entire part of the book was, "I finally believe in something larger than myself." Yeah. That is the exact opposite of his character. That is a nice turn. That's a nice twist, and he, of course, is doing it for a reason that ultimately may benefit him or will, definitely benefit him. But for him to say that out loud, for him to speak that, acknowledge that, that drew me in.
So how does this book tie into the Leviathan Rising arc that's going on in Bendis's Action Comics?
Well, it ties into there as they don't know who he is fully. So no one knows who he is. They don't know what he is, but they just know it's like he's coming. So with the events that happened when the source wall went down and what was that?
It would have been Green Lantern.
Yeah, Green Lanterns. Yeah.
War of the Gods or something.
Yeah. Batman getting the Mobius chair, all that stuff. All those events right now are coming back to haunt everyone. So the effects of that are really playing a part. And DC, you're the villain. All the superheroes are in space trying to save other planets from being destroyed because the source wall was destroyed and it was holding back a whole bunch of just everything, a whole bunch of evil. So now planets are being destroyed and they're trying to save them all. And Leviathan is coming, but no one knows who he is. They don't know what it is. They don't know what's about to happen.
So is this Leviathan the same as the old Leviathan from back in, what was it, early 2000s, 2011 maybe even?
I don't know. They have
League of Assassins.
Right.
Nah.
Talia al Ghul, none of that?
No.
All right.
But they haven't introduced him yet, so we don't know.
Right.
Moving on, Batman TMNT 3, the third and final crossover, was released last week. I don't think any of us read that.
No.
Any interest in that?
You know what? Now I'm interested in it. I went to the comic book store and they were like, "Oh, everybody's snatching that thing up because it's going to be the last time they do that Batman and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles crossover."
So we should be on the lookout for that then, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Deceased.
Very good book.
Very good book.
Very good.
And spoiler alerts, it's disturbing.
This is the one that kind of broke his brain for the first part of his introduction.
Broke it.
And we're going to get into why. I really enjoyed this one. I had a chance to read it. But absorb it as much as the gorilla over here, the silverback. Of course not. This is a DC thing. And, of course, he's been sitting with that for a lot longer than I have. So I'm interested to see what he thinks, the expert on it.
Tell me your opinion on it.
My opinion of it was it's a very easy read. I like the illustration. The first part of the book, I love that. Then they switch artists when it comes to a certain part of it. Well, I guess I could just go ahead and talk right through it, right?
Yeah, just do it.
Yeah, when Cyborg gets himself kidnapped, they change artists. It's a shock because I really like the artist that did the first half and the last half of the book. And it's just brutal. It's brutal. It shows loss, and I like when DC shows loss because we know that we're in for a big change.
Because we're the best at it.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Okay.
DC has no problem killing its civilians.
No,
Right.
DC has, you know what? And that's what makes DC better because they have no problem with killing. You can't kill off we can't kill Professor X. You're going to have to bring him back.
Yeah, no matter what happens in the Marvel.
How many times did they kill Wolverine and he's still alive and brought him back?
Come on now.
Come on, man, old man Logan. We got to bring him back.
So who's actually dead that you think is going to stay permanently dead?
No,
Not
of
civilians.
course.
Oh no,
No,
you're bringing up heroes and stuff in Marvel. You say they can't kill off anybody permanently.
No,
so who in
no
DC?
superhero
Who in
really ever gets
DC?
killed?
Who in DC actually died permanently?
We don't know yet. This is just book one.
Well,
Exactly.
It's just
you're
book
saying-
one.
but you're
I
saying
gotta
that-
wait a whole nother month
you're
to see
saying
how
that
this
that's
concludes.
why they're better.
Or not even conclude. But
But that's why they're better, right? Because they're willing to take the chances
it
to kill
Elongated
off
Man?
permanently.
Ray, the purple one,
what?
the Elastic Man that had the purple outfit. I'm thinking really, really far back.
Yeah, you're
I should have probably
real far back.
thought that a little bit.
There were some DC characters
A
that
little
got
bit
killed and never came back.
Yeah.
I will for the next show. I will have those references
Okay.
ready.
Even
There you
Sewer.
Yeah, I'm in sewer. He died.
Boom.
Oh, then we'll go back to Uncle Ben.
Well, shit, Dr. Erskine.
we said heroes.
Right.
Uncle Ben was
Guy
no
who
Uncle
did
Ben
hero,
is a hero. Yes, it
Greatest
is.
hero of all
Uncle
time. He
Ben
created
did nothing
Captain
but
America.
die.
He ain't come back.
and that was the best thing he ever could have done.
That was the only thing Ben was here to do was to die and tell his grandson,
And to hail
his
the end of
nephew,
the Silver
sorry,
Age.
his nephew, what he needed to do was something about responsibilities that no one remembers to
And
this day.
officially end the Silver Age. Biggest reason I picked up the book is because of the It cover. I love the It
Oh
variant
my
cover.
God! Here, show that off.
That's all.
Oh, it's
being
up there?
showed off.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and take a look at it.
I mean, that variant cover was just delicious.
that's
I mean,
brilliant.
I was just like, what masterful crossover, because
Right on
It's not
time
even-
as well.
It's not a
The trailer's
crossover
coming out.
though.
I mean, it's
It's
you
just
know, it's synergy, man.
It's
You
just a
got
cover swipe.
Warner Brothers owns. They're the ones doing it. Chapter 2 it's funny that this variant comes out right as soon as the next trailer comes out for Chapter
I'm
2.
sure it's
Which is
definitely
funny.
Yeah, which is like I said,
but DC's the book itself. It's the start of a whole new miniseries. So basically, a techno-organic virus is created when Darkseid takes Cyborg, and he finds out, he's got the other half of the anti-life equation in him, so I'm going to join those two halves. And when he does, his right-hand man is like, hey, look, if you join these two halves, it's going to kill Cyborg, and we can't have him die because we lose the equation.
It'll corrupt it, yeah.
So what does he do? He
"Fuck that."
says, hey, I know what to do. I'm going to call Death, the black racer who makes his astonishing reappearance. He snaps his finger. He comes in,
Yeah.
catches Death by the throat, says, look, I need a piece of you to put into this guy so this guy doesn't die. And what happens when he does that? Virus automatically created.
Yeah.
And
That
drives,
directly affects Darkseid.
Yeah, I was gonna
directly
say, what happens
affects.
to Darkseid?
Yeah, it drives him insane instantly
Why was his right hand man not affected again?
because he's immune to all viruses and diseases and poisons and all that kind of
but
stuff.
it didn't matter because
Yeah, it did
Apocalypse
not
blew
matter
the
very
fuck
long.
up.
Right. He was like, oh, okay, I'm safe. And then, okay, well, he's going to go ahead and jump into the core of the planet and
And
explode.
explode.
Well, doesn't matter. If I
It
get
didn't
bit
matter
by the
one
virus.
bit.
Yeah, then his guy sent Cyborg back to all places, Earth, to just wreck it all up. And the way that happened
Which
is
was
just
very
horrible.
interesting because it wasn't like he planned to send him back to infect the people of Earth.
He was just trying to get him
away
the
from
hell out of
Darkseid.
it. Yeah, he was
Right.
just trying
To
to get
maybe
him the hell out
disrupt
of there.
that virus and that
Yep.
connection to the anti-life equation. But in doing so, set off the entire infection on Earth, all the social media devices and the
Yeah.
whole internet, everything getting taken over. And Darkseid still killed him and blew up the whole planet
Yeah.
anyway. So
And that's why fans that you don't just continue to stick your face to your computer screens.
Yeah, it's a social media.
It's social media.
It's like a.
It's like a
play.
meme. It's like
Yeah.
a
Kinda
meme that just went
one-
around
yeah.
and just went completely.
It kind of reminded me of Cell.
Yeah.
Stephen King's Cell. If you guys have ever read that book, or seen
With
the
Jennifer
movie.
Lopez.
No,
No,
the book.
no.
The book.
The
Stephen
movie-
King wrote a book where everybody that answered their phone at a
Oh,
certain time
yeah.
had a virus that turned them into
Died.
basically
Yo,
zombies.
son, you got the
Okay.
anti-life
Let me-
equation?
let me
Text me
tell
that
you
shit.
something. Let me tell you
Text me that shit right now.
Let me tell you something about that Cell movie. I've never gotten through just 5 minutes of a movie and just was like, nope, that's it, and turned
Yeah,
the
the
motherfucking
movie,
up.
the movie was awful.
Trash.
It had nothing to
He's
do
a
with.
horror
Well, I
movie
mean,
watcher,
it
so yeah, he was waiting for it.
had a little bit to do with the book, but they left out
Trash.
so much material that made that book so much better.
Trash.
But I mean, that's the way Hollywood is. They always
It was a
skip
direct. It was a
over.
direct to DVD movie.
No,
That's
it was actually out in the theaters. I think
Oh,
for all
for
of 2
5
weeks.
minutes.
See the release?
Yeah, it was like one
For
theater in
shame.
the
Right.
entire area. Next up is Major X. So we are on issue 3 already. Major X is a new Marvel book out by art is by Will Spertaccio, writer is Rob Liefeld. You see a lot of the similarities with Liefeld's early 90s Deadpool creation, the New Mutants that we've got back there. Same kind of concepts. He gets a lot of the time travel, time sliding. It's a Cable story essentially. This is Cable's son who goes into the future to. They go to a different. All the mutants go to a different, basically, dimension. So they are now free to live out their lives as mutants.
Okay.
And something happens, and their world is threatened. So he has to come back and try to stop this issue or this thing that's going on in the future. Major X, the big reveal at the beginning of the first book, is that he's actually Cable's son. And Cable kind of realizes it, and he decides to help him right then and there.
His new son or his previous son?
How many
This is
sons
newest.
does Cable have?
Well, how
was
many?
Tyler.
I'm getting sick
know
of
if
this.
that was strictly for the,
Summers
original.
family.
Nathaniel.
I mean, Jesus Christ.
Like, can't we just end the Summers bloodline
Like,
once
Never.
and for all?
They're royalty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
Right.
they're a
common royalty.
disease.
in the year
That's like
in
the
the year
Franklin-
3636.
That's like the Richards blood.
Brogan Summers.
in Marvel.
It's a disease, man. They just need
Yeah,
to
I guess
stop
I'm gonna have to
breeding.
get caught up on that because I've been way out the loop on the Summers. After the missing Summers brother, or the third Summers brother, I was like, and I'm finished. And that was a couple decades
Oh no,
ago.
we have to protect baby Nate Summers or baby whatever Summers.
Yeah.
Well, and the nice thing about this is if you grew up in the '90s, you'll get a lot of the nostalgia for the book. You'll see the artwork. You'll be like, oh, they got kind of the shoulder pads, the accentuated shoulder.
Well, it's
pads.
life.
Then I'm instantly
Yeah,
back.
but he wrote it. He didn't
Yeah.
draw it. Will Spertaccio drew it.
Okay.
Wow, Liefeld let somebody else take
Yep.
the pins.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
That was one of the things I thought the same thing. I'm like, oh, this
He must have
looks
wanted
like
some feet in
Liefeld's
this
work,
book.
and then I see
Yeah,
that the
no.
artist on there is not Liefeld.
like,
He's only got the writer credit. But yeah, he brought the story. It's very, very indicative of the '90s X-Men.
Okay.
So if you have that affinity towards those books,
I do.
this is one that you want to pick up.
I will.
For some reason, issue 2 was hard to find. I didn't see why. Moving on to the next one, we have Savage Avengers. So this one is the same brutality that we've seen in a lot of the Punisher books that have been coming out. So a cult is kidnapping and beheading people of importance to fill a blood sacrifice pool to summon a god from the 10th planet of our solar system. Then they've upped the
Pretty
ante.
basic stuff.
Yep. They've upped the ante to attract warriors such as Conan, and next month, based on the ending of this book,
Which was amazing.
The Punisher. The team so far seems to consist of Conan, Logan, and Punisher, with others hinted at in the cover arts. So at the very end of this book, well, actually at the beginning of the book, you start off with they kidnap a opera singer and take him to the Savage Land where they got this big blood sacrifice pool. They stand him over. He's whining about how they are instructed to pay for kidnapping ransom. He's got insurance. Just tell him what they want. Tell them your demands, and they'll pay. So he goes out and he's standing on this thing. He thinks he's got them kind of listening to him, and they said, "No, we don't need that. We don't need money. Money's not worth anything to us." And next scene, you see his head just get chopped off.
Yeah.
And falls into the pool.
Yeah, it's a brutal book.
It's a savage book.
It's enough gore in it. Well, I wouldn't say gore, but enough blood and killing in it to satisfy you.
I mean, you look at the cast: Conan, Logan, Punisher. You're gonna expect violence. and
Yeah.
savage.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
there will be violence.
Yep.
And they're on the cover for the reason.
And at the very end, you find out why the Punisher is now going to get involved because
he is pissed.
the Hand has kidnapped his, well, not kidnapped, I guess. They dug up the graves of his dead family and they brought it to the Savage Land to attract
Leave
him
his
over.
family alone, for the love of God.
That is the worst thing you could have possibly. If there's one way to get the Punisher attention, it's that.
Oh, yeah.
It is that. You just dug up his wife and kids.
Absolutely.
My God.
Just wrong.
It's kind of like what happened in that DC movie.
Doomed.
Doom.
Yeah.
Yeah. When they dug up Bruce Wayne's parents.
Oh, man.
And he was like, where
pissed.
are he? Was mad.
He was pissed.
Attack the grave. Attack the grave.
Yeah, so Punisher's going to get involved probably in issue number 2, and I'm guessing that's probably going to be the end of the story because once he gets involved,
Everyone's going to
die.
It's
over.
Issues 1 and issue 2, the finale. Moving on again, we're on Avengers: No Road Home. There's a 10-issue miniseries. It's basically a direct sequel to there was a Avengers event last year. I can't remember the name of it. It's the one where Hulk got resurrected. No Surrender.
Okay.
This is kind of a direct sequel now, so they're kind of exploring a little bit of the Hulk, what he is now. But the big thing about this one is that the Olympians have been murdered. So all Zeus and all of the pantheon that were living in Olympus, Mount Olympus,
Right.
they've been murdered. Hercules is on Earth away from Mount Olympus, and somebody sees this, and they go and start rounding up the Voyager, who is, I think, Kang's kid.
Kang
Or no, not Kang.
No.
Grandmaster.
Grandmaster. Okay.
So it's his kid sees all this, and she wants to go and assemble a group of Avengers to go stop this new god of the night, Nyx, or she's the goddess of the night. So the 10-issue series ends up culminating in a battle at the House of Ideas. So you get to see a lot of the old scenes from old comic books, and one of my favorites, as the poster behind me shows, is Captain America #1.
Yes.
And Vision actually summons the character from that book to knock her out.
Yes.
So
nice
she's
little
one of
callback
the
to that scene.
she's one of the people that, or he's one of the people that gets called back. So Vision just essentially defeats Nyx with ideas because he says that imagination is part of the light.
Would you say the weapon was a literal house of ideas?
Yes. So that is the actual source of creation is the House of Ideas.
Yeah.
Which is just, to me, it's poetic. I
Yeah.
love that.
I think so. They do a lot of that in Marvel as far as one above all and making characters kind of be the manifestation inside the books for Jack Kirby and Stan Lee.
Oh.
I'm definitely seeing a lot of the more cosmic side of Marvel lately, and I think that's a big tie-in with Endgame. They're trying to monopolize on that. Their shift from being grounded in the movies to now going to the cosmic
Save your
level.
shit, Will.
Oh, okay. I'll save my shit for you. I was like, really?
And the last comic, we have Assassination Nation.
Yeah.
So this is a Kyle Stark's book. He's of Rick and Morty fame. He's the one who drew the original series.
Yeah.
The artwork and story is very reminiscent of another fan favorite Image book, Chew, with over-the-top violence and tongue-in-cheek humor. I am a fan of the book. I'm gonna continue to read this. Essentially, what happens in this one is there's a list of the top 20 killers, bounty hunters, and in the very first book, that's right, assassins. So the top 20 assassins are all gathered because one guy who's retired is also a rich man and has the power. Gathers all these people into one area to try to protect him. So he makes a offer that he will pay them all for their protection. And as soon as that offer is made, about 16 of them or 15 of them reveal that they've already been hired by somebody else to kill this guy. So that's when the over the top bloodshed and the really goofy kind of
the fun stuff.
Yeah, the very Image Chew style of violence, and I guess it kind of goes.
It's like an all out brawl and scrap type stuff going on. So I love it. Cal Starks, met him twice already in real life at C2E2s.
This is the one you got signed this year, right?
Yeah. I have that one signed by him and the artist.
I do like the book. Anybody else here read that yet?
No, I didn't read it yet.
No one? All right.
Of course not.
I recommend it.
Yeah,
I do recommend it. It's an image book. If you can find the first 2 issues, they don't seem to be selling out too much.
Okay.
They're still available. And with a lot of image books, it tends to get higher in price as you get closer to like issues 25. When people just start to jump onto it later on, and then they try to go back and find out, oh crap, all these
where can I find a #1 first print?
Right. So if you can get on it now.
Yeah, I recommend this book. That is. I just like Cal Starks as an artist, as a creator, as a writer. He's good at what he does.
Yeah,
he's got his, doing Rick and Morty for so long. You're gonna have a good sense of humor.
And like I said, I really feel a big sense of the image style, the Chew lineage, I guess.
Okay.
So Chew was another book that was just over the top gore about a guy that can eat things like dead people's fingers and see what happened to them. That was his superpower, and just some of the goofy stuff in there. This reminds me a lot of that. Same with some of the Rick and Morty over the top stuff, like
Combobulous Michael.
Some of those same, like the little
I'm gonna go kill
alphabet.
it now.
The alphabet in his cereal. I just love killing.
Like there's a scene where you get to see somebody's head get blown out, and their brains spell like thwip or something in the background. That's the kind of goofy over the top stuff that's in this book. Moving on to video games, board games, and collectibles. Mortal Kombat 11, we did get a chance to play that so far on Nintendo Switch.
Right.
I'm not a fan of it.
Oh,
really?
I'm not a fan of it.
Tell us why you don't like it.
I
That's
don't
how
know.
you really feel.
I don't know if this is a
Say it.
function of the fact that Nintendo's system is so underpowered.
Well, yeah.
But the X-ray moves, they don't X-ray.
Yeah, yeah. I watched as he played it, and I was like, "Meh."
So if you've come to know the X-ray moves in Mortal Kombat 9 and 10, the really brutal things where like you'll see Scorpion's spear go through the guy's head, and it cuts to an X-ray of the skull being shattered as the
like
spear
the best
penetrates. So none of that is in it. It zooms in, but you just see the character's face, and that's it. Like nothing, no X-ray effect at all.
Maybe it's just a Switch. I mean, the Switch is a family fun game system.
Yeah, but they have a lot of violent games on there already.
Yeah, maybe, but
They do.
Mortal Kombat is probably the most violent
ever.
Yeah.
They used to try to ban it back in the 90s.
Go back to the old Force Mortal Kombat with no blood.
Ed Boon and the rest of the developers have already said that there is a patch on the way to kind of bring the Nintendo Switch version to the same parity as
The PS4
Switch or the
and
PS4 and the
Good
Nintendo
luck.
or the
Xbox.
So they do have plans, but they were very vague on what that means.
That means they're not going to do anything because it's a Nintendo Switch. Boom.
Well, they're supposed to be bringing a new Switch out.
That's what they said. Well, they said that they will not announce at E3 that there's a new Switch coming out. Mm-hmm. That's what they told their investors. So
It took me a whole bucket of shit to get the first Switch. And
Right.
now
I love the system.
This is my problem.
Yeah,
I do love the fact
know
that
what
I
the
can play
problem is.
Mortal
This is
Kombat on the go.
This is my
I would
problem
give
with Nintendo.
That's
By the
true.
time they come out with a new Switch, they'll already be talking about the new PlayStation 5, the new Xbox coming out.
Well, they've
It's like-
already announced the PlayStation.
Well,
5.
exactly.
PlayStation
So-
5 is coming out.
Yeah, it's coming out. So they're going to probably most likely either hand it or they're going to show it at the E3. And we're still talking about the Nintendo Switch. Fuck the Switch. I said it.
it's because you don't have yours no more. You got
I,
rid of
no,
it.
Right.
I still have it.
Oh, you still have?
I still have
I
it.
thought you got rid of it on purpose.
No, it's
Oh,
still
I'll
in my
take-
basement collecting dust.
I'll take that off your hands if you don't mind.
No, I can't do that.
Yeah, exactly.
No, you said fuck the Switch.
Switch,
Give it up.
right?
The Switch. I'm hanging on. I'm definitely hanging on for.
I do love the Switch itself.
for that Ultimate Alliance 3.
Yeah, I can't wait for that.
And then after that, what?
I might go back to Smash. So I can lose at tournaments.
In
Think
the
that I'm
first
great in
round.
my living room, beating up on
Exactly.
people because of some server lag, but and some latency, and then go out there 1-1 and get chewed up on the clock like goddamn chess game.
The dude is not good.
I've been saving it. I've been letting everybody talk about everything. I didn't want to interrupt the flow of us talking about
What is
the
this
books we
called?
were going through.
The dude.
The dude, this shit is not fire at all.
Crown Point, Indiana. Crown Brewing.
What did you think of the special
Shame
ops
on
IPA?
you.
You've let
That
us
special
down.
op. Hey, that
The
special ops is
IPA
good.
is what I'm using to wash that
You
shit out
have
of my mouth.
let us down.
Special Ops
Ooh, let me go
IPA
ahead
is
and give it a
great.
shot. Let's see.
Yeah,
White
you go
Russian
ahead.
Java Porter.
Yeah, you guys are
Okay.
watching this live. You get to see this reaction. Let me finish.
All right,
This
he's
is the review right here. This
and
is
I already know.
unbiased.
I know what he's gonna say. It tastes like. I just want him to taste it.
Oh, I know what it tastes like.
Look at
Look
this.
at that. That tells you. No words. No words.
Yeah.
He said
What is
everything
it?
he
What does
needed
it
to say.
taste
What
like,
does it
Matt?
taste like a sour.
Exactly.
It tastes like a sour. Yep.
Tastes like a sour ale.
Tastes
That
like
doesn't
a
taste
sour.
like
And we
What's
had a
that?
sour
What does it
ale
taste
last
like?
podcast, and I was not a fan of that.
Did they?
Right. That
Think that
it
there's
tastes
some
like
salt.
Smells like it.
right.
It smells
It
right.
smells
but
like
the
a
taste is
porter.
not there.
Right.
Ooh.
The dude
Yeah.
would
Shame
probably,
on
would
you.
the dude drink that?
This is
No, the dude
actually
would not
the
drink
dude
that.
would not drink that.
No, he
Drifting
would
left,
not.
Lebowski.
Yeah.
He'd be like, come on, man. He's like, I'm not for that, man.
In other video game news, they did release the Final Fantasy VII Remake trailer finally.
Okay.
How many times are they going to remake this game?
Well,
Once.
this is the only time.
What?
The only time. Hell
I
shit.
feel
how
like I've
many
been
times?
hearing about Final Fantasy VII remake.
Since
For
97.
years.
Since
No.
97.
It's the same one.
They put it out on every
They
system.
put it out, but this is the first remake. The others are all
They're
just
putting in
ports.
it. This is in HD. This is they're
Right.
doing.
Oh, my.
They're redoing the animation.
Oh,
they're
geez,
redoing
the
everything.
So
animation?
basically, they're redoing the whole video game, which is long as shit,
Right.
in today's graphics.
Let me just say something. Why don't they just put all that effort into making a good Final Fantasy game?
They did.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy VII.
And
Yeah,
15.
exactly.
15 was
But I
pretty
mean-
good,
How long?
even if it was
how
the
long?
boy
What
band.
was it?
Yeah.
Has it been
It was
over
really
20
weird.
years? 22 years?
They're on 12 or what?
No,
15?
20.
15.
They're on
Yeah.
15.
15 was
And
the
we're
boy
still
band
talking about
one.
7.
Yeah.
The boy band one?
Hey, look here. I love because 7 was the best
It
one.
was. It was
It
the
was
shit.
the best one.
I haven't
Well,
played.
If
Look,
people would
it was
stop
Final
asking
Fantasy
for it,
VII
they
and
wouldn't
Pokemon.
have
That
spent so
was
much
Exactly.
time working on this.
Right.
Well, you
Um,
because they keep making shitty Final Fantasy games after that. They need to make a
10 was
game.
great.
10 was fine.
15 was great.
15 was meh.
That was a pretty well received game.
Okay.
Man,
Um,
whatever.
I don't give a fuck either way.
Was
in
it
the,
7? No, it wasn't. That's why we're
Right.
getting another.
That's why we're getting 7. We're getting
Yeah.
the first remake
We're
of
getting a
7.
remake.
Okay.
That's how they get you.
They should just
Sideshow.
give us 10 sevens.
Right.
So going on to Sideshow, we have the Endgame figures are starting to come up for pre-order, including a quantum suit Tony Stark,
Oh,
a life-size and a scaled-down version of the Power or Nano Gauntlet, so Iron Man's and Hulk's
seen
Gauntlet. Diamond Select, Diamond Gallery. They've announced their first figures for Endgame, so they have an Ant-Man, a Deluxe Hulk, and an Iron Man in the movie gallery line of PVC dioramas. So those are $49.99 each, except for the Deluxe Hulk is $69.99.
Right.
They have a Thanos movie milestone resin statue for $500.
Ooh, diamond?
Diamond.
Wow.
Wow.
And they have 2 movie premiere collection statues, one of Black Widow and one of Captain America, that are $150 each.
Which the one of Captain
they're-
America?
So
What
I'm
is he
pretty sure
doing?
you're gonna get the $150 one.
right.
I might not because
gonna get the
right now,
500?
no. I got a bunch
He's
of.
gonna
I
get the
actually got a
500
bunch
one,
of the
yeah.
pre-orders from Sideshow, so I'm not. They did show the accessories that and since the spoiler ban is lifted now,
Right.
the 2 accessories for the Captain America Endgame figure from Sideshow
Okay.
is Mjolnir and the Broken Shield.
Thank you. That's
So
all I was
I'm
waiting
absolutely.
to
I
hear.
might even get 2 just to have one in
Right.
the box and one to bring to the office.
That's
Whatever.
what I'm
Well,
talking
Mac,
about. Because
I'm
I need
waiting-
that Mjolnir.
I'm waiting on the old man cat one. So when is that coming out?
Right.
Right
Are they
around
gonna
the
they're gonna make a figurine of him sitting on the bench
Right.
talking about you kids get off
They
my
haven't said anything
goddamn
about the Funko
lawn.
Pops as well. I've been watching a couple of Instagram pages and Facebook pages trying to figure out when they were going to release that because they've already done wave 2 of the Funko Pops, and so they're releasing things like Dude Thor. And
Oh God, I gotta get that.
yeah, everything that's going along with that. I might pick some of those up. I'm really a Captain America Funko Pop guy, and I'm really trying to make sure that my collection is tight because once it's out there, I'm not getting it because the price will be spiked up and it'll be on Amazon or eBay for something that I can't even begin to get used to.
I'm
close
dying
to.
to see a fat Thor made for a
Oh.
Sideshow
If,
figure. I will
now
buy
guess
that.
what? If
Yeah.
they make that,
If
I
they
will
make
buy
Fat
it.
Thor,
They
yeah.
have-
That'll
Just
be
fine.
like the outside of my Punisher. That will be the only Marvel character
Yeah.
figurine I
In your-
have
in your entire house.
in my entire house.
I want them to have a fat Thor and I want them to have a Korg Sideshow.
Oh, God.
I want it, and I want them both to come with a controller and headset accessory, beer.
Hey, Thor.
Hey man, Wi-Fi.
He's back.
No
He's back.
password,
He's
of
back.
course.
Call me
No
dickhead.
password, of course.
Jump
I
on the
want
Wi-Fi.
that. I want that Falcon cap. I want him just standing there as regular Coles, whether it's a statue or it's a Funko. I want that Mjolnir cap. definitely Funko.
Oh,
Like
it's-
whatever they do for Cap on Funko, and if they do release a statue for that, I want it. And you just said that they did. There's the other one. What's the other one? No,
Diamond is the one that's going
The
to be
Diamond
releasing
one.
the,
Yeah, no.
the movie premiere collection.
no, I'm strong.
All I know is I want an old man Cap. Make it happen.
You
Sitting
do
on the
terrible things to that old man. Cap.
I would. I had to be like, you piece of shit.
And now on the movies and TV front, so Dragon Ball Z is releasing a 30th anniversary set. Pre-orders are up. It's got a November 5th release date, and it's going to be $349.99.
Let me tell you
Is,
something.
is that every one ever?
It will have the entire series remastered in 4.3 aspect ratio on 37 Blu-ray discs. It comes with a full-color 11-inch Grandista Goku statue by Banpresto, a full-size hardcover art book, and it's all housed in a collector's box featuring a foil Shenron design. It also includes a numbered certificate of authenticity.
Oh wow!
Let me tell you something. Oh,
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Go first. First of all, if you're a collector, like a serious collector, this is definitely something. Yeah, that beer is not great.
Yeah.
Wash it out your mouth.
Wash it out with some
Wash
special
the sin
forces.
out.
Special Forces IPA. If you're a serious collector, then that's definitely something that you want to get your hands on, especially if you're a Dragon Ball Z fanatic. If you've got yourself a YouTube page or you've got yourself one of those rooms that you spend hundreds of thousands of dollars assembling nothing but Dragon Ball Z stuff, go ahead and get it. It'll make your day. It'll make your collection. I've seen all those episodes so many times that I will not be participating in this mad dash.
Right.
I was there.
Right.
You know?
I was there the first.
I was there.
Me and him ran home.
We ran home and held
Literally.
hands when fucking Goku went Super Saiyan for the first
I
time.
think I was a part of that too.
Exactly. I waited like 5-6 years for them to just like finish the Frieza saga. And coming home and always being met with, hey, everybody, this is a motherfucker named Raditz. Like, I am not watching any of that shit, so I'm not buying it. I didn't miss anything. I know everything. I get every joke
Grew
in
up
Team
on
4-Star.
it. Grew up on
back
it.
in the- back in the good
every
days.
parody, I get it because I've seen it all. I know that show intimately. And I'm glad that it exists. It deserves to exist. Dragon Ball is Dragon Ball, for crying out loud. But I'm not going to participate.
Well, let me tell you something.
They can eat
Let
the
me-
whole dick for that whole price.
if it was on 4K Blu-ray, then I may have been willing to spend $300,
You're a
$400.
goddamn liar.
But why?
No.
It's a 4.3
Yeah.
aspect ratio. That's
Exactly.
what I don't
It's a
understand.
box. I don't like that.
And that
It's a
is true.
square.
That
It's
is
a
true.
square.
And you know what? And that's what really kills me about it. You know, I'm like, I might as well just go ahead and just say, fuck it. Go ahead and subscribe to Funimation Go or whatever the fuck it's called now.
Yeah.
And just go ahead and just binge watch the whole goddamn thing.
So
You
I
know?
just did it.
Yeah.
Like
I mean,
you just did, yeah.
Yeah.
And you started at Dragon Ball like some
Yeah,
kind
the
of
original
psychopath.
Dragon Ball.
oh,
Yeah.
That was actually kind of funny. I will give that.
I could
Yeah.
not, I tried to watch Dragon Ball. I just couldn't do it.
Detective Pikachu came out this weekend. The reviews have been in since last week, and we're positive so far. One of us has seen it.
I
Right?
have.
I was supposed to see it. I had free passes to see it, but it was in Chicago, and I was like, "Fuck Chicago! I'm not going all
I'm
the
not
way
getting on the
there.
expressway.
I'm not getting on the
We're
expressway."
based there, but no,
Yeah.
we're not getting on the
Should I talk about it? Should I leave it alone? Should I
What were your thoughts
What are my
overall?
thoughts
quickly?
about
No
it?
spoilers, no
No
spoilers.
spoilers. No
Right.
spoilers. I guess we'll wait till the unbiased review one of these days. But anyways, it was pretty good.
Maybe I'll see it on a $5 Tuesday.
$5 Tuesdays.
Yeah.
Well, you can always get the AMC stubs.
Yeah,
you
we're
know,
dragging ourselves, kicking and screaming to
right.
these things now.
You know, but anywho's, but it was.
This is not making the money yet.
Nah, yeah, right.
Endgame surpasses the original Avengers to rank 6th of all-time worldwide box office list in its first week. It crossed the $2.344 billion mark this week.
Unzip its pants.
Yep. So it's I think
Past
less than 0.4 now from Avatar. So
Yeah,
the
pull its
highest
underwear
grossing
down.
movie of all time.
Yeah. I think Avatar was 2.44 billion.
2.74 or
No,
something.
yeah,
Oh,
it was
wow.
7 for it.
Oh,
And
7 for it.
Avengers, last time I checked, it was at 1. So I remember that when we were at work on
Yeah.
Friday, it had about 600 million to go.
Yep.
And hell, let's
Yep.
go.
So
Let's go.
after
It
Fridays,
has to. It has to shut James Cameron the fuck up.
No,
in my
no
opinion.
it did because
Well,
he came out and congratulated him. But
Oh,
you
well
know what?
then, you
He's
know,
like,
all up.
you know what? That's why, guys, I'm going to come out with the 5th Avatar movie.
Oh, we'll get
I
to that
can't
in a
wait.
minute.
Yeah.
We'll get to that in a minute.
And I mean, that's what you kind of get for living in that world, where you can just make one movie or make 3 movies and then be done with it. And then
James.
Marvel come out there and say, hey, 22 movies, universe connected. Like, we're not stopping this franchise. It's not like Alien where you're like, well, I don't like this new Alien or I don't like this new shit. I'm going to go back to the other one. These movies are going to keep going.
Yeah.
Whether it's DC, Marvel, these companies are going for these interconnected universes some way. Fast and Furious, they're not gonna fucking stop, and they shouldn't. It should be the kids that grow up, and then they got a whole car club, and it looks like maybe the second one, and they just keep going from there. Like, don't stop making the movies. He stopped, sat on his ass, and now his shit's in danger, so he's making 9 more. So whatever.
I mean, fucking Fast and Furious is almost like 20 years old since the last one. The first one came out. I mean, Jesus Christ. You know, it's like Dom's still gonna be sitting over there like, hey, Shaw, hey, let's go ahead and ride.
You want this IP? No, I want the fucking Corona. You want some of this anti-hero and this? No, give me a Corona. But there's so much better. There's so many more beers out there. No, Special Forces.
You had me
I
at
want my
Corona.
Corona.
Yeah, me at Corona.
Monday, May 13th is X-Men Day. That's when Dark Phoenix tickets go on sale.
Oh, you ready for that?
They apparently have a whole bunch of other stuff planned for it. So behind-the-scenes footage will be releasing online. Various other events that are going to be going on around the states.
Oh, yeah.
And then just this past week, we had the aftermath of the week before's episode of Game of Thrones.
Woo!
Okay. Well, first, let me get started by saying everybody will come to find out on the internet through the podcast, listening to just the audio. My friends in the room already know I am not going to see that movie in theaters. I might not even see that movie on the
Game of Thrones?
Yeah,
well, no, not
the
Game
Game of Thrones
on.
movie.
Yeah, we're past
See,
that.
Dark
the
Phoenix
music
guy.
going on
He
behind
was
you?
That whole
so
universe
he was
died.
waiting on it. I
Yep.
know.
You skipped over it just for me. I don't.
He was like, and let's hurry up and keep it moving.
So,
I can go on. So go ahead.
the complaints of the Battle of Winterfell being too dark.
Hey, you know what, Mac? Let me address the people. Oh, it was too dark. I couldn't see it. You bunch of pussies. Turn your goddamn brightness up.
Thank you. That's what I said.
It is a fucking battle in the
middle of the night.
In the middle
Yeah,
of the
that
night.
they purposely filmed dark so that they could save money on makeup.
They wanted it in
Makeup
the
and
middle of the
effects.
fucking day.
I don't think
Makeup
that's
and
what
effects.
He wouldn't be called the
They
Night
spent-
King if he
Exactly.
showed up
He's
at
the
12 in the
midday king.
afternoon.
Spent their
But I'm
budget.
saying, like, you talking about makeup, like
What
most of
makeup?
it is blood.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Most of it is blood and mud.
In order to save money on effects and makeup for all of the
Have you all ever been in a war or a fight or a battle? Any of you?
oh,
Tell
yeah.
him, Tone.
No.
Yeah.
I fought a guy in the rain.
No,
Tell him,
I'm talking
Tone.
like where bullets are really flying around.
Tell him,
and
Tone.
okay.
No
So
one swung a sword at me.
at night,
Have you been in a sword
can't-
fight?
Huh?
You been in a sword fight with cavalry?
Gunfights,
And
gunfights,
undead,
bullets.
undead
It's a
coming at
veteran
you.
over here.
Veteran,
Right, of
combat,
the undead
combat
war.
veteran, combat veteran.
Please don't challenge
Bombs
me.
blowing up around you, so
don't
it's
challenge
pretty.
me.
I'd rather have swords and spears and shit flying at me than bullets and bombs.
Wait a minute. He would rather have the goddamn Al Qaeda coming after him than a fucking horde of fucking night
Undead.
walkers,
Yeah,
white
exactly.
walkers
Undead.
trying to come
With
and kill his
dragons.
ass.
Yeah.
And dragons,
So
you know.
when it's night, I remember when we were in Iraq one time, war story. Pitch black at night. God, they just start bombing our perimeter, and we had to leave out of our rooms.
I remember that story you told me.
Put everything on, and go out to the lines. And it was pitch black outside. Pitch black. So I understand it. There was no way to turn up the brightness during that episode for me.
The soldiers are like,
Yeah, I was
"Hey,
watching it and I
it's
did
too
not
dark
stop to
out
turn the
here."
brightness up. I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna watch it 10 more times. So
Watch it
I don't
as
give a
it
fuck.
is.
So Arya kills the Night King.
Woo!
Which was beautiful, and I love
beautiful.
all the
Are
moms
we
that
gonna do
everyone's
the Arya
created.
challenge in
It's
here?
all beautiful.
Theon, Lyanna Mormont, and Captain Friendzone
Theon
all
redeems
got,
himself.
got,
I binged it. I did
killed.
not like his
And I swear to
character at all.
God, there was at one point in that episode when they were sitting outside, right in front of that fire, he's supposedly protecting Daenerys. I swear there's a scene, and I'll have to rewatch it, but I swear there's a scene where she actually pushes him in front of a sword.
Yes, she did.
Straight up, Captain Friendzone just killed his ass.
She did.
And then
She
felt
pushed
bad
him.
about it afterwards. It was pretty funny. And then they had the aftermath episode right after that, where Gendry was still trying to hit on.
He's pussy whipped.
Yeah,
He was instantly.
He wanted to marry her, and
It was
they,
when I first laid eyes on the tall woman.
they need.
I wanted Tormund to get with Sir Brienne and
Sir.
yeah,
Sir.
well, she became Sir.
Yeah.
And she, well, I got my opinions on that, but you know, that's what you get, bitch. You know, you had the guy that loved you.
They always want the ones that don't want them.
the person that I was watching it
Tell
with
him,
made
tell
the
him.
comment when she was
Tone
crying
knows
as
all
she was
about
leaving. Yeah, I didn't think she could get any uglier. And then she
my
saw the
God.
ugly cry.
Oh, wow.
She's a beautiful woman, and I don't know why they
Oh
do that.
yeah,
to her.
they like
I don't
she's good looking in real life.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they just like Arya, they need to do something with their hair and makake. Stop making them look like they did back in season 1.
Man.
Arya,
British.
for one,
Like,
that's just
stop
creepy.
it.
I don't want to see her as the 8-year-old girl that was in the show at the beginning of all of this.
Right.
You know, change it up so that we don't have to
Right.
see her having sex with Gendry, and then we're all traumatized.
Well, I'm pretty sure you
because
we're
won't
all
see that
trying-
anymore.
Not only
I was
We're
not
trying-
anymore.
Not
Well,
anymore,
Now it's
bro.
going to be the Hound.
Yeah. Oh, God.
All right, moving on. Brightburn. So,
Hated it.
You gonna play the whole?
well,
There
Okay.
is good inside you.
They might as well. Oh shit! Oh.
I want to do good, Mom. I do.
No, you don't. You fucking liar.
so we have Brightburn. Producer James Gunn and writers are Brian and Mark Gunn. So this is basically the story of what would happen if the guy that crashed to Earth on the Kent's farm
Superman.
turned out to be a sinister person instead of the champion for truth and justice in the American way.
So what you're telling me is the director of Guardians of the Galaxy is trying to shit on a DC character. What if possibly? Because I think this movie's gonna suck. I think it's gonna
this
suck.
movie is
I think it's gonna
make
flop
all the
hard.
monies.
For a horror movie, I'm interested.
Yeah, it's
an
a
interesting
superhero
concept.
horror movie.
Yeah.
It's the superhero.
It's not even. He's not even a superhero.
but
He's
it's-
just somebody with powers.
But
He's a
it's,
kid.
It's a kid with powers.
He's essentially the
it is
evil
deliberately
Superman.
Superman.
Right.
It is deliberately
But
Superman.
Like
You
even the
can't-
shots they set up at the beginning where
I
he
don't even
crashes
think it's a
onto the
diss.
farm. Like that farmhouse looks like
Yeah.
they just painted Kent or Briar
right.
over Kent.
And I don't think it's a diss. I think that it's a brilliant idea.
I think it's a
No,
great
they
idea.
did. They did that already as in the DC realm. That what if they did actually did it twice? The Red Sun,
Yeah.
and in the DC movie, Gods and Monsters. DC was Superman was he raised in Mexico?
He was raised in Mexico, and he was the son, he was giving the DNA of General Zod.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were they actually evil or were they?
Yeah,
just,
they were
yeah,
evil.
they were
Oh, they were
fucking
evil.
evil.
They were evil as shit.
Okay.
But they were still heroes.
Right. But they ran everything.
Right.
They ran
Yeah, but that's
everything.
what I'm
Everyone
saying,
was
so-
afraid. They ruled out of fear,
Okay.
basically. So what happens if this kid grows up? He rules out of fear.
And that's how Donald Trump became the president of the United States.
I think that this movie's gonna be great. I think that this movie is going to be great. I can't wait to see it. I don't think it's a diss in any kind of way towards,
I think
because
it is.
James Gunn being a Marvel guy first and soon to be a DC. Like, I don't care about none of that. This movie, well, yes. So I'm just saying, I can't wait to see this movie. That new trailer really opened up that scene that they showed in the original teaser, and I'm super excited.
And next up,
So lovely, Miss Kirsch. Are these your family?
My father came to this country
Well,
with
this shit.
$14 in his pocket.
What did he do, Mrs. Kirsch?
My father joined the circus. I was always Daddy's little girl. What about you? Are you still his little girl, Beverly? Are you?
and there we go. So, It Chapter 2, everybody's all grown up.
Yeah.
Back in Derry. I grew up watching the original when it was on TV. I loved the original, and I really love this adaptation. I know it's kind of a mixed feel for everybody. Some people really love it, or you really, really hate it.
I don't give a shit about it.
I've been dragging myself through it because I'm not a scary movie guy. When I was picking up dead bodies from crime scenes, none of this shit affected me. So I was like, give me all the movies now before this thing wears off. And it did wear off. And now I'm like, fuck scary movies, y'all.
Oh, this I guarantee.
But this is just too interesting
I'm
to
seeing it,
turn away. I
I'm
can't.
seeing it the weekend it opens,
And now I'm contractually obligated by this podcast
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
watch this shit. So
and then
we'll see what happens.
Well,
I conscientiously object.
It's too fucking scary.
No, I was traumatized by the first It. So
Oh, this one. There's
Yeah.
a lot of scenes that made me jump in this one.
Yo, I loved his laughter. I loved his laughter being
Yeah.
thrown in there. I was like, I don't have a thing about clowns, but if I did, that would be one of the triggers.
oh yeah.
That would be one of the triggers. And then at the end, when you expect him to be like, I have a deep voice, he was like, hi. I was like, I'm out this bitch. I'm out this motherfucker.
All right, and then HBO released their trailer for The Watchmen.
We are no one. We are everyone. And we are invisible. Tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock,
We convinced ourselves that they were gone, but they were just hibernating.
Got to play to the camera, baby. Our microphones are off.
Oh, is it?
Oh, man, so many.
They came
Oh,
from
the microphones aren't
offensive.
off.
And so many offensive things I get a chance to say.
So-
I can hold them in.
Watchmen looks like it's an after or takes place after Watchmen have already disappeared.
Yeah.
Looks
Okay,
like
everyone's
that's
Ozymandias.
dead.
All right.
Yep.
except for Ozymandias.
I don't know if that was
No,
Ozymandias.
that was Ozymandias.
Was it?
Yes, he just looks older and skinnier and whatever. It does not look like him, but it is him.
What
Wasn't
stories?
he on the moon by the time that movie ended?
No, that wasn't Ozymandias.
Yeah, it was.
That
was
was-
his
that's-
place on the moon, or at least in the books it was.
Ozymandias is the guy who had the tigers.
Yeah.
He had
Yeah,
the-
you're thinking of
genetics,
you're thinking about Dr. Manhattan.
Oh, yeah.
They were both up there.
That wasn't the moon.
Well,
They were in
his
like
base was on the
Antarctica.
moon.
No, they were not on the moon. They were like in Antarctica.
Ooh, you guys are giving yourselves homework.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like it.
Continuity, man.
Well,
Yeah.
shit.
Dr. Manhattan went to the moon and
he
created
went to
that
Mars.
or Mars or wherever.
Right.
But they weren't on the moon. They were like in like an ice shelf in Antarctica somewhere or the North Pole.
Well,
I'm interested. I just wanted to know exactly when it took place. Are there any more stories to tell in that universe?
Well, they did
Yes.
it before
well,
Watchmen.
apparently
Right.
there are.
Now they got the Doomsday Clock.
Doomsday Clock.
This one appears to be a sequel to The Watchmen. Not maybe directly, but it's going to tell the story of the aftermath. I'll give it a shot.
yeah,
I'm gonna watch it.
Definitely
By that
will.
time, the
It's a DC
I don't want to be one of the
Game of
ones.
Thrones will be
I don't want to be the
over, so-
podcast
Well,
not talking about
Here's,
it.
here's my thing. I think if we all watch it and you get everybody to really come out for this will give the incentive for HBO to start really producing and showing more DC characters on their channel.
Comic book related material.
Comic book related. I
period.
mean,
and
it
that's good
should be.
for everybody who's a fan of that genre.
Also, last week or maybe this week, Disney released their plans for future domination for the next 8 years. Their release schedule came out, including new Star Wars films on December 16th, December 16th, 2022, December 20th, 2024, December 18th, 2026. There is a new Kingsman movie scheduled to be released on February 14th, 2020.
Ooh,
New
hey.
Mutants will be coming out April 3rd, 2020.
No.
New untitled Marvel movies will be released on May 1st, 2020, November 6th, 2020, February 12th, May 5th, November 5th, 2021, February 18th, May 6th, July 29th of 2022. Indiana Jones 5 is scheduled for release on July 9th, 2021. And Avatar sequels on December 17th, 2021, December 22nd, 2023, December 19th, 2025, and December 17th, 2027.
What?
Matt-
so
Those
Mac-
will probably be the
Mac-
only things I see as the avatars.
Mac,
What
can you?
world we
When
live
when
in?
does that new Indiana Jones movie come out?
July 9th, 2021.
Okay, will they stop it? Just stop it. The
They
the man is 90 years old.
They gotta redeem themselves to that Crystal Skull crap.
You can't. The man is 90 years old. Let him. If
Wait,
he-
didn't they do? Wasn't it like the last Indiana Jones movie? Him and his son.
yeah.
Yeah, the Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah.
I
that's
actually
why I
didn't
said
mind
they
that.
gotta
I didn't mind
redeem.
Crystal Skull.
It was terrible.
I mean, as a
I love
movie,
those are one of my favorite series growing up. So I loved the Last Crusade,
Of
and I
course,
loved
of course.
the first one, Raiders of the Lost Ark. I was a little bit scared and traumatized as a kid from Temple of Doom.
Oh,
with
yeah.
the
Early bar.
everybody. I think that barring the actual Crystal Skull part of it, everything else was, tied up in a nice little continuity bow. And
We could have done without Shia LaBeouf too.
well,
Everybody could have done with it.
if it
Shia
wasn't,
LaBeouf.
all right, I'll ask you a
Transformers might have
question.
been a
If
good
it wasn't
movie.
him, if it wasn't Shia LaBeouf, and they decided to go
Maybe.
with his descendant,
It would have been John Cena.
well,
John
no,
Cena is Indiana Jones.
right. John Cena is all the characters in Hollywood right now.
Right. You
Nah,
can't
yeah.
see him because he's Indiana Jones.
Marvel movies, Why I Live and Breathe. Avatar, it is what it is. It's going to come out. It's going to try to compete with everything that's come after it and itself. And the Star Wars stuff that's going to keep pumping out like a factory. I mean, the interesting thing is that, or the most interesting thing is that we're talking about this in the context of the fact that Disney owns it all now.
Yep.
It's not competing anymore. It's just money. It's money.
Yeah.
They could all make $5, and it doesn't matter because it's their $5.
They do what they want.
It could all make every
I
one of
think-
them a billion.
Well, they still.
I
have to
think
pay
the only
actors.
reason that James Cameron was so willing to congratulate Endgames because he saw this release schedule and said, "I got 4 more chances."
He's like, I don't give a shit what you're about
Right.
to do. I'm gonna top it
Right.
anyway.
And
It's
you
like-
know now that he's got the Disney machine behind
That's
him.
what I was
that
about to say.
motherfucking movie's gonna make $3 billion.
That's what I was
all
about to say.
5 of them.
I was
I
like-
don't know why though.
They didn't have enough money to pay me to make a sequel before, but these motherfuckers gave me
I remember-
like $9 trillion to make 9 more movies.
I remember being in that theater for the first Avatar and being just amazed.
The 3D was
Yeah,
fucking
it was
fantastic.
amazing.
I was
I walked out
I
of
was
there
doing
going
like this. I was like,
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck is this?
I walked out of that theater and I couldn't tell you one reason why I liked that movie.
Hey, man, the
Which
movie,
is probably why I didn't end up buying it. You've seen my collection. I
Yeah.
buy everything I even remotely like. Even stuff that makes me laugh really hard one time in the movie, I'll probably buy it. This one, I saw it on the shelves. I'm like, meh.
yeah, it was.
I don't know why I liked it.
I bought it just because it was on
Overload.
3D, and it was like when I had a 3D television, I was like, I have to
It
get
made you
Avatar.
buy those things.
Yeah, it made you want it,
It's
but
like you buy a Nintendo Switch for Smash Brothers.
right,
You buy one of those old Xboxes. We bought that shit for Halo.
exactly.
And you
Right.
get the 3D TV and you try to recreate that theater experience of the Avatar, and it gave you that.
do you
And then
got
after that-
Avatar on 3D?
I do.
Give it to me so I can watch it in my basement.
I will not.
Is that a
Oh,
3D?
that's right.
Yeah.
Off
That's a
that
3D
projector.
projector.
I got the
Off that
ultimate
projector.
version of Avatar, which is even longer than it was already in
sweet
theaters.
crap.
December 16th. Well, do you have a 3D Blu-ray player though?
Yeah.
Yeah, he got
Okay.
it.
I have,
I'll
I
fucking
have
find one.
everything.
I was going to say December 16th. We'll have to, in 2021. We'll have to watch it in your basement.
Right. Hopefully, the world is still here by the
yeah.
time we can get to watch it, and it doesn't get pushed back yet.
Nobody's
again.
going to do anything stupid because they want to see what Marvel has to offer.
Lastly, upcoming events. Motor City Comic Con is actually this next weekend,
Okay.
May 17th through 19th up in Michigan. There's a new Chicago Con, Comic Con Revolution. That's June 1st through 2nd at Rosemont, with names like Gene Ha already behind it. Gotta be
Okay.
there in attendance. And Anime Midwest tickets have gone on sale.
Oh yeah.
I've
got
never
to
been
get
to it.
my ass to
I've
one of
never
those.
been to
I've
one.
got to get my ass to that.
I have
anime.
been
wanna
in the
go.
vicinity when they had it, and I can
It's
tell you,
it's wild.
it is wild.
yeah.
Especially
Yeah.
the girls. I was like, oh my. Well, hello there.
I'm sure they were girls.
Hi, Chi Chi. It may not have been shit.
Okay, battle damage Boma. Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, it would be interesting to go see it. I might go one day, but I don't watch anime enough.
Support
Yeah.
your local
Oh,
con.
Right.
I watch all. You gotta watch all the anime. You got a VRV subscription, right?
Yeah.
Verve, dude, just watch it all on there. Just,
I really only have the Verve subscription for like Harmon Quest and Critical Role and those funny shows.
And Attack on Titan. Yeah.
I'd watch that on Funimation
Don't-
dubs. I
don't
can't do
mention-
the
Don't
subs.
mention that name.
Oh, yeah.
I
Attack
can't do
on
the
Titan.
subs because I spend so much time just reading and I don't actually see what's going on the
you got.
screen.
Hey, you got to put your Sharingan on to read fast while it's actually playing.
You do.
You do.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
You gotta be second
I
nature,
could
or
read
you're
the
gonna be like,
entire
"Fuck that
thing
shit."
and I would still stare at the words on the bottom of the screen. It's just like anytime I see any translations or anything on
Mm-hmm.
any movie, I'll read it and then I'll just hyper focus on that word. I can't look
Hey,
away
hey.
from it.
Right.
Like I don't
That's
understand.
the only
It's like-
thing I don't
it's
That's
like.
why I said you got to put your Sharingan on, so you just be like, "Yep, it's like I'm not even reading, but I know
when
exactly
you-
what's going on."
It's like when you're driving and you're using your phone. You still see the road a little bit.
You were like, yeah.
I don't recommend that at all.
Right.
Say disclaimer.
'Cause your eyes will just be doing like this.
Pretty much. All right. That's all we got for this episode. We should be on a more regular release schedule starting next week or the week after, hopefully.
Hopefully.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
We can do whatever we want until until the big boys recognize us, and then we got to get our shit together.
Right. Well, like I said, we got June 1st and 2nd. We'll have to head up north to the Comic-Con Revolution and see what that's all about.
Yeah.
Give it a chance.
Yes,
the other one
right.
that's up there is the Wizard World, and
I've been.
that's kind of a dumpster at times. But
First you get the content, then you get the views, then you get the women.
and that's HoldMyComic.
It's like if his wife is listening,
And that is why
it's like,
you
it's
fail.
like disclaimer, honey, please stop watching after like the 5-minute mark.
I'm Mac.
It's a script. I just read it. Now go ahead.
That was Damaris.
I'm
that's
Tone,
right.
the
And
Silverback.
this is Will. And
Mr.
that was
Captain
HoldMyComic.
Rogers, Mr. Bogus.
Take
Bye-bye.
care.
Bye.
Hold my comics.